Howdy everyone, it's me once again, one and only Killer Dan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon where I'll be talking about their movies, obviously TV shows, I don't know, whatever the case may be. If it's related to Disney in any shape or form, then yes, of course, I'll be talking about it. Alright, then it's gonna be a pretty crazy video, I guess, in some ways, because it's gonna be relating to Disney and I just want to do like a mixture of stuff here in some ways to some extent. Of course, I'll be talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And as far as I'm concerned, like I said before, they're caught. They're definitely caught. I'll give time to like a video or two I might show here. And the thing is that I'm since they confirmed that a Frozen 3 and a Frozen 4 will be made, I'm like, okay, here's the thing though. While I do want more princess movies, as I said before in previous videos, I do want that. But if there's a group of people I don't want to touch these kinds of movies. When it comes to Frozen, it's the Jehovah's Witnesses. I know they come off like a dictatorship if you ask me. So they just come off straight up propaganda if you ask me, and it will. They have made propaganda stuff before, which I'll show in a moment. Okay, case in point, here's a verse here. When it comes to hero worship, has been along with this word for a long time. Here's some quotes here, of course. You can look up yourself if you want to. So yes, but when it comes to worshiping, only Jesus Christ should be the only one worshiping. And that's kind of the thing though. The Jehovah's Witnesses don't really trust the world government, not really. So trying to add the whole princess thing would just contradict that to some extent. And when you think about it, because like Princess Anna is supposed to be part of the royal family and whatnot, because that's how the story's written. But this would not fly with the Jehovah's Witnesses, not at least not to the at least not only maybe a little to an extent maybe, but anyway, but of course, when it comes to the whole thing, Princess Elizabeth, and yes, they have stories about this one individual, which is in the Bible, of course. They want to talk about how God's instructions are permitted by her parents to make up her own mind on the matter. Her first decided to honor too great to give up, and trying to do some kind of cautionary tales, I guess. Which in some ways, that's kind of what the stuff in the Bible is that a lot of people will accept the Bible as nothing more than cautionary tales, not to be taken literally. While other Christians would take everything literally, like the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses would take everything within the Bible, no matter how over the top, no matter how absurd, ridiculous it is, to accept it as an 100% reality. But this princess that they're referring to, they probably would make it into a frozen thing if they wanted to, I guess. And yes, the family's religious views get in the way in reference to the story that they're talking about here, folks. When it comes to Prince Charming, I guess they'll have their own version of this, of course. And that's the thing, though. I'm pretty sure if they had it their way, they'll probably just modern Frozen again if they had it their way after something like this. I mean, those other princess style stories within what they would talk about. There's quite a few actually. I'm trying to use that as a way to talk about the fact. At least I use at least one of them. I'll bring up a video of theirs from their own site, by the way, in a good moment. But if it was up to me, I'll probably do a pretty gloomy film. But that's how Frozen 2 was in some ways. Frozen 2 was definitely a lot darker than the first one. I tend to like the second one a bit more. But that's probably just me thing. That's probably a me thing because the whole thing was sense of the macabre some ways. Yeah, I tend to like the gloomy stuff. But like I said, that's just me though. That's me, alright, just putting it out there. So I did like the Frozen 2 a bit more because of this. Because it came off a way more depressing, way more darker, I guess you would say, to some extent. Matter of fact, I wouldn't want them, when I say them, the Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't want any of them to be doing any of these princess movies. So if you want to take this video as what if? What if the Jehovah's Witnesses had directed Frozen? That's fine. You can believe that if you choose. That's kind of the realm of possibility of what I'm talking about here, folks. When it comes to this concept of this video, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Okay, let's ask, what if they wrote the script for Frozen? And I'm saying something princess in the realm of princesses because that's what Disney's familiar with. They're known for this kind of thing, and that's the thing. Also, and for anyone who don't know, it's not that they haven't made films before. Oh, they have. The Jehovah's Witness Corporation had made films before, and oh my god, they're some of the worst films I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of bad movies, and I mean a lot. So saying this is not that much of a stretch, is what I'm talking about, it, folks. And yes, if they had it their way, they would have Prince Hans be the main lead because he's a guy. Yeah, really, just because he's a guy, that's it. Keep the Kristoff bit, but the ending would be drastically different because we got married at the end and have a kid. And then the whole thing with Queen Elsa having a throne, nope, she's gonna be kicked off because she's a woman. Because apparently women are too stupid to rule. Alright, folks, just letting you know right now, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole with this, because, well, there's a lot to talk about this. I mean, I do mean quite a bit when it comes to how the Jehovah's Witnesses treat the women. Yeah, if you really want to go ways in, I mean, ways. I'll bring it here to some extent, but there's a lot to speak about because yes, they want the women to be submissive, of course, which yes will play a huge part in their version of Frozen, of course, because they believe that this is the proper way to do it. This is the good way to do it, according to them. Which, of course, they view like the 1930s and 1940s like the highlight of America, 1950s, that kind of thing. Like, that's the best time in their lives ever. And yes, women must dress up in a certain way. Women must be dressing up in a certain way. They're super strict with this. They're extremely strict with women on. I mean, they are like that with men too. Of course, they're strict with men as well. Of course, I'm not saying that they're not. Yes, they are, but more so with women. And I'll bring that up again in just a moment, folks. But anyway, yeah, like there's quite a bit to discuss with you, folks. I mean, yes, throughout the years when it comes to this organization, yes, of course, bits and pieces may change. Bits and pieces may differ, of course. When it comes to information, like the certain details may differ from certain eras, maybe of the organization. Sure, because they've done that. They changed details if it contradicts something else, and they would just not admit that, of course. But yes, the general idea is that some of these people actually believe that women are too damn stupid to lead because when it comes to the brain function to its maximum and whatnot, which of course it's just this entire thing just seems nonsensical when you think about it because it is. It's asinine because people do have different learning curves when you think about learning abilities, I guess you can say. But again, with the whole dressing thing, yes, this would mean the fancy dresses that Prince Anna and Elsa would wear. No, yeah, these fancy dresses. That's gonna be a big no-no. You can't wear that. It has to be something more plain. Some people have stated that the first Frozen film is a cautionary tale about love bombing, like the love of first sight or whatnot. Yeah, I can accept that. I can accept that as an answer. You might be attracted to a person at first sight, but love at first sight, the whole thing with love bombing, yeah, that's a bit of a slippery slope when you think about it. I'm not saying love don't exist because it does, I'm just saying. But of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses would totally dismiss that. Oh, Hans is a great guy. He's wonderful. He's amazing. Just because he's a dude. Yeah, seriously. This also will, of course, include Kristoff just for the mere fact that he's a guy. That's all you need for these characters. This woman, this guy. That's it. You don't need anything beyond that. So yes, a lot of the elements from the film will be stripped away, like the whole idea of Elsa having powers, not just political powers, of course. I'm also referring to her ice powers. I mean, yes, I could also refer to her part when it comes to political influences. You can't have that for a woman, but also her ice powers. Yes, you can imagine that a Frozen movie without Elsa's powers that would be completely removed in this version. Okay, since I mean, okay, let me sidetrack you just slightly. I mean, the Jehovah's Witnesses, to be perfectly clear, they're not going to outright say they're communists, but yeah, they're not going to outright say it, okay? And to let you know, they're not going to explicitly say it. But in reality, yes, they are. They absolutely are. It's their behaviors, it's the way they act, the way they move, the way they talk, the way they have to set the rules. That's what gives it away, is what I'm saying. They won't explicitly say it, but it's the way they conduct everything. That's what I'm talking about. The way they conduct everything. In other words, in the matters in which way you speak is what I'm referring to. is strong alignment with communism, is what I'm getting at. So, with that in mind, is that okay? Since we all know whether people want to accept this or not, but we all know that money is influence, which in itself doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It just depends on the circumstance, of course. Anyway, this also means I'm trying to give you the idea that also this will also mean that Elsa in this version, if they made the movie, if they made the first Frozen movie, this will also imply that it would just strip away all of her influence, money wise, not just her political power, not just her supernatural powers, but her money influence, her money cash influence will also be stripped away. Or if it can't be completely removed, money wise, I mean, it would at least be heavily restricted. Yes, yes, and yes. It's all because she's a woman. That's it. This is based on the fact that she's a woman. Nothing more than that. Yes, obviously. I'm not saying that Kristoff won't be eliminated from this version. Kristoff, the Iceman, he'll still be. I guess the only real major difference along, I guess all the other stuff like devil in details. But one of the major differences is that Kristoff and Prince Hans will be the major focus instead of the two sisters. Speaking of major changes, I mean, a lot of this major changes when you think about it. A lot of it is when you think about it, but it's just that some will be more minor than others. But anyway, point being is that yes, even what does this mean about Olaf? Did this talking snowman? Yes, Olaf will not be present in this version because like the whole Elsa witch. Yeah, I actually think that she has witch powers, like witchcraft. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses actually believe in witchcraft. So Olaf will not exist in their version. So all these supernatural stuff will not exist in this movie. So the giant snowman, the ice castle, all of that will be gone. And yes, this would also mean the song "Let It Go" would not be in this version. And if it were in this version, it'd be for Jehovah, because that's the thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. The thing with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they're always feeling they're being persecuted. The Jehovah's Witnesses always feel persecuted. In other words, if I really want to oversimplify it, is that they're playing the perfectional victim. Is what I'm saying. They're playing the perfectional victim. They have this victim complex. So if anything, they'll probably would have an additional kingdom in here. Like, okay, let's just say they make another kingdom. All right, a second kingdom. They have those Arendelle, and there's a second kingdom. The second kingdom would be, I don't know, pagans or Catholics, because they absolutely hate Catholics. Or maybe it's a kingdom of atheists because they hate them too. These nasty atheists or nasty pagans or nasty Catholics would be discriminating against Jehovah's Witnesses. They're under threat somehow. And then it would be like it's up to Charming over here to save the day. It's up to him to save the world, so to speak. Of course, Prince Hans will be going to the Church of Jehovah's Witnesses, the Kingdom of Jehovah's Witnesses to be exact, because we must rejoice. We must get together because the other kingdom is discriminating against us, and we must protect Jehovah at all costs. Protect the family and all that jazz, because Jehovah wants us to. And this kind of thing, of course, they will be actually talking about in the website. And yes, course, they view this stress, they view this pain. It's a sign. The fact that you're struggling, the fact that you have a conflict, it must be a sign of something. Oh boy, again and again, I keep saying this is so bizarre. It is so weird when you think about it. But okay.
Have you ever been distressed? Well, if you haven't, you're not human, because all humans suffer from some form of distress in the short period of life that we have this side of the New World. But what is distress? Some say it's extreme anxiety. Others say, well, it's sorrow. Then there's a few who label it as pain. Well, what is it that causes the distress? Oh, a number of things. Here's one that somewhat heads the list: death of a spouse. Second behind that is injury or some type of illness. Then there's loss of a job. How am I going to care for my family, my wife, and my children? And then here's a very important one: not being able to share in the kingdom preaching work to the full. So these are reasons that we are distressed. Now, of course, these are not the only reasons. There's many others. But how would you fare? How would you feel if you're undergoing some type of distress? Well, could it be sad? Is that how you're going to feel? Are you depressed? Some say, well, yes, that's what hits me. Others say, well, low in spirits. I don't know. I'm just down and out. My get up and go got up and left. Others say, well, I just feel like going off and hiding and crying. Well, that pretty well sums it up, but is it possible to read?
Okay, I'm not going to show the entire video, but you get the gist of that. But point being, I'm going to bring this up to, yep, pregnancy. I know, I seem to be bring up pregnancy quite often in my videos, about my channels, but just bear with me here, folks. It just goes into what I was talking about. Yes, this would have to be a thing in the movie, in their version of the film. And you see what I'm getting at in just a moment, folks, okay? Just, again, I'm just going to go by what if they actually made the movie, all right? Just under that idea that they made the movie, all right? But anyway, this must be a thing. This absolutely has to be a thing in the movie. It's to send a message. Really, if anything, it's to send a message. Which means, yes, if anybody should be pregnant, just have on to be pregnant, okay? Just for this version, okay? Just say that. Anyway, the idea is that you see how lovely this is. See how peaceful this is. They're starting a family. Christoph and Anna are starting a family. It's so amazing. It's just the outside world. It's the outside world that's corrupting anything. Because case in point, I'm going to bring up one of their cartoons where the daughter, the little girl, is being picked in school and whatnot. And yes, pregnancy is brought up here too, folks. She's being picked on in school. And yes, we're going to use this as a segment to teach a lesson about the Bible. Because, oh no, I'm being persecuted. Oh no, I need Jehovah's help. So again, here's a little segment of this here.
One in the Bible who felt the same way you do. Her name was Hannah. Hannah loved Jehovah very much.
Hey, wait for me!
But someone named Penina was very mean to her.
It's so nice to see the children play, isn't it?
She had a bully too?
Yes.
We're ready to eat. Here's your portion, Hannah. And Penina, here's yours.
She was very jealous of Hannah.
I'll get some water.
You think you're so special, Hannah? Then why hasn't Jehovah given you any children?
Are you okay, Hannah? Why are you so sad?
Others could not understand why Hannah was so upset, because the pain was in her heart. So she talked to the one who would understand.
Oh, Jehovah, please see me. Remember me and do not forget me. Please give me a child. If you do, I will give him to you all his life to serve you.
What are you doing? Why are you drunk?
I'm not drunk. I'm under great stress.
Oh,
I've been praying for Jehovah to help me.
Go in peace, and may Jehovah give you what you've asked for.
Do you know why Hannah felt better, even though her prayer wasn't answered yet?
Why?
Because Hannah knew Jehovah heard her prayer.
When Jehovah listens to your prayers, he really listens. And he knows just what we need, even better than we do.
But how does he answer them?
In lots of different ways. Sometimes we just have to wait and see.
Because he's busy?
No, because it can be hard for us to see the answer. Let's talk about what you can pray for.
And what you can do tomorrow at school to work along with those prayers.
I know that Angela and the other girls are going to be mean to me. But please help me to be like Hannah tomorrow. Help me to be strong like her.
Prince Hans over here would be doing more or less the same thing, preaching the gospel ideas, their version of the Bible, in his church, I guess, if he's a pastor. Yes, never mind the fact he's exploiting Anna's. Of course, in Disney's final version of the film, Anna here is extremely needy, and of course, Elsa is like the exact opposite, which I'll get to in just a minute here. But of course, in this version, in the Jehovah's Witness what if version, that would be completely gone. And yes, never mind the fact that Hans is exploring her. Yep, that's gone too. Which in itself is kind of moronic when you think about it, because that would have fit to their agenda real quick, because they believe that women may act too hastily because of really dumb reasons, because women are too stupid to them. Like this, they could have easily fit that to their agenda, but never mind, I guess. I'm not saying the character is stupid, I'm just saying that this would have fit to their agenda perfectly, but never mind, I guess. I mean, at least I want to leave that aspect in there anyway. I don't know. And my point being is that, okay, what about Kristoff? Since I mentioned Kristoff quite often, what about him? Yeah, the whole deer thing, yep, that's going to be removed because that's too supernatural, apparently. And then what about of course, the trolls? Nope, that's got to go too because too supernatural like. And of course, this means the entire beginning part will have to be completely rewritten. Of course, the beginning part. So yes, this pretty much eliminates a lot of stuff here, folks. Of course, I mean the whole thing where Kristoff on Anna having this grand adventure that can stay. That can still stay in the film, of course. If they don't fall in love immediately, it could be like a gradual thing. That can stay in the movie. Maybe they go to the other kingdom that they're fighting, and through their journey, they can fall in love. Okay, that aspect can stay, of course, but it's just a bit of a rearrangement. It's just a bit of the context that's been changed. They're going through a struggle in a different way, and then they fall in love. Even though it's really contrived, but anyway, the point being, okay, Christmas. Even though technically Frozen is not a Christmas movie because it takes place during the summer when you think about it. But okay, again, speaking of tweaks, this aspect of the movie, I mean, it could be taken as a Christmas movie, but still. But anyway, this aspect of the film, the whole snow bit, again, yes, it'd be completely and utterly removed as well. So yes, again, very specific segments will be altered. So like this one when they meet up with Olaf, yep, no, that's no longer in the movie at all. So if it's pretty obvious enough, yes, this sounds like a completely and utterly different movie by this point. That's because it is. Maybe specific elements may remain, of course, like some of their personalities, maybe, sure, may have been stayed here. Maybe specific moments, specific elements might have stayed, sure, but of the overall movie, it's just completely different. And maybe one thing that could be remained as well is that, let me see, like the whole idea that Queen Elsa, I guess in this version she's not a queen, but point being is that her being sad, I can stay there. I can stay there because in their version and the Jehovah's Witnesses version of the film, maybe she's depressed because she doesn't find who she is. I mean, granted, that was kind of the idea in the movie anyway. She needs to find who she is. Who am I as an individual? I mean, that was in the movie anyway, sure, but the reason behind it would be different, is what I'm saying. She's trying to, she has to accept Jehovah in her heart. Society is saying one way, but the church is saying another. That's why the conflict comes in, and she becomes utterly depressed. And Prince Charming over here would come in. You have to believe in Jehovah. You must believe in Jehovah and whatnot. And that's where the, I guess, a bit of a struggle come in, of course. And she, of course, her relationship with Hans will not be the same like it was in the movie, of course. And the way her sister acted towards Hans in the film will become completely different than it was in the movie, of course. And they'll be having more of a trusting relationship with Hans, is what I'm saying. Anyway, but of course, she'll get happy, obviously, finds out who she is and whatnot. But only through Jehovah. I mean, again, I know that's kind of the point of the movie. She needs to find who she is. That's kind of the point of the film, sure. But again, the reason behind it would have been completely different, is what I'm saying. And the reason behind this would have been just utterly different, is what I'm saying. Just what led to one thing to another would have been not the same like it was in film. Speaking of some tweaks, I mean, okay, like I was saying earlier, there's a strong contrast between the two sisters, personality wise. That can stay, okay? That can stay. But both of them will have to praise Jehovah, of course. Both of them will have to praise Jehovah, obviously. And their parents will have to believe in Jehovah, of course, and whatnot. It's just some added details that these two contrast personalities can stay. It's just the whole believing in Jehovah would have been added there. Just saying. Actually. Because it's the same thing there. They would just want these people to say that the only way you can be a good individual if you have Jehovah in believing in Jehovah. That's like the only good way you can be a good person. Of course, you can portray the princess as the happiest, most prettiest, gorgeous individual, and can only the only brave individual is a Jehovah's Witness woman. But which is kind of weird because okay, let's just go back to Frozen. We'll use that for an example. Because according to them, the only way she can be good if she's a Jehovah's Witness. But this is kind of contradictory in some ways because yes, they believe in sexism, the traditional roles for women. They should not have that much power. Only the man can. All right, pause. Ugh. Okay, folks, I'm just going to make this little bit here because, of course, I'm a little annoyed here because I attempted to upload this video a lot earlier. So of course, due to I'll tell you in just a second, but of course, there's some delays with this video, so I had to tweak up a few things here. And the reason behind this is, of course, YouTube itself. Yeah, I got a few copyright claims on this more than once, and yes, I did attempt to fix it, but Christ. So this will be loaded a lot later than it should be. Yes, the general consensus is that yes, I want to see more princess movies. I really enjoy these kinds of movies. I really do. But of course, I'm being focused on Frozen in some ways, as if yes, just acting. What if they actually made a Frozen movie? I guess in some ways, but I do believe that it would be terrible. It would be just utterly terrible because the general idea here for this video is that it would be nothing more than just a propaganda piece, really, if anything. And yes, I will show a few videos in this video, henceforth why this is going to be a fairly lengthy video, folks. And I will discuss a few things, okay, more than a few things, really. I want to mention some of the really strict rules. And yes, a lot of the belief systems is really weird. There's some really bizarre belief system that they actually take to heart. So, yes, of course, that definitely is a thing in this movie. Anybody who can treat their child, parent, grandparent, or sibling as if they are dead because they don't practice or believe in the same exact religion believes is truly disturbing. And yes, that is the thing with them. They will purposely shun you if you don't really believe their system. And not only that, burning or throwing away any items that they assume to have demons attached to it if the things in this family and others in other congregations were burned or thrown away is or an indication of controlling. It is that definitely. The congregation will of course have a bunch of people coming to their religion, and yes, the characters like Anna and Elsa will have to be married to men, of course, because they have this strong belief system. Think of it like in some ways like the Christian conservatives. The Christian conservatives and the Jehovah's Witnesses have some things in common, of course, and that is relevant in a lot of ways. I'm not saying they're exactly the same. The Christian conservatives and the religious belief system of the Jehovah's Witnesses are 100% the same, but it's there to some extent. Of course, the gender roles are definitely a thing. Just trying to think the 1950s kind of a thing in some ways. And yes, they would want that to be reflected on the films themselves. I mean, yes, okay, this is some ways giving me an excuse to talk about Frozen. This is Disney after all we're talking about here. But that would definitely be a thing here, folks. Saying no. But yes, and you're not allowed to be friends with outsiders. So if there's anybody that isn't a Jehovah's Witness, you're forbidden to be friends with them. Which yes, this makes it extremely awkward to interact with people. Or let's just say you're in high school and people talk to you. You make it really awkward. Another thing is that you're not allowed to eat cupcakes, like a birthday thing. But yeah, birthdays are forbidden. And yeah, and their views on homosexuality, yeah, they frown upon that. So having Elsa get married to a woman is a big no-no, of course. Oh, you can't have tattoos. Nope, you can't have tattoos because that's somehow evil, I guess. And when it comes to makeup, they don't outright ban it, but they don't really endorse it either. Just putting it out there, folks. Oh, speaking of wearing things, you can't wear any swimsuits because that's too revealing. You have to be modest. Of course, it has to be a woman thing. Back to the makeup thing, like I was saying, they don't outright ban it, but they don't exactly allow women to do that, really, because, again, the whole thing with modesty is really distracting and whatnot. You can't have it too pretty looking. If it didn't look like this, like really plain, I will bring this up later on the video, but yes, something like this. They must wear, yeah, even the men too, of course. Something really plain. Like I said, I'll bring this up again later, but anyway. For an example, when it comes to bizarre roles, what if okay, there's a scene where Elsa is just stressed because of the governing things she has to do in the kingdom, and she wants to get drunk as a way just to deal with the stress. Nope, can't get drunk. You're not allowed to get drunk here at all. Okay, can she at least smoke weed? Nope, can't do that either because smoking weed would somehow destroy your life, which is just jumping the gun. But okay. Because somehow that's going to be a bad influence, but there's nothing to back that up, though, when you think about it. Okay, what if she wants to smoke okay, not even cigars? Nope, can't smoke cigars either. Okay, what about drinking coffee, tea, stuff like that? Nope, all those drinks as well, or anything similar to those drinks, are also strongly forbidden as well, because it doesn't go along with the customs. So you can't have these characters on screen with that because they'll find it as a building against Jehovah. So you can't have that in the script either. Yep, that's the thing. Oh, definitely. No polygamy with women. Nothing but women. What if Elsa wants to get married to nothing but women? That's going to be a big no-no. Yes, the whole gender thing, I would definitely bring it up again in just a moment, folks. But I'm just going to give you the mindset, at least to some extent, how these people work. Which in some ways is very hypocritical. Because in some religions, a man can have like 50 different wives, and that's okay. Give me a break. That's dumb. Even if one of these characters is trans, they would view the character as just as a homosexual. Even though, technically speaking, a trans individual, when the character wants to have a transition, that in itself has nothing to do with the character's sexual orientation. But again, it just shows you how misguided these individuals are. So you can't even use that as a I guess as a loop in the rows or something. Nope, you can't do that. Queen Elsa would have to be with the man at all times. So it doesn't have to be one moment where she's on her own. Okay, well if she just needs some time to think about important decisions in the government. Nope, you can't have that. Speaking of government, a woman cannot be in charge of anything. That's the whole sexism thing I was referring to a moment ago, which, again, like I just said, I will get it more into in just a moment, but it's just so weird. It is so weird when you think about it, but okay. So, okay, let's just say maybe in Frozen 3 or Frozen 4, like I said before, they want to do these two movies and actually have the movies be made. Let's just say in either movie, they want to explore more how this government works. Let's just say that, hypothetically speaking. They don't want any women to be in charge of any of this because they actually believe that women themselves have smaller brains according to them because of Jehovah made men smarter. Yes, again, this goes to the whole idea that they should be submissive. Like they don't know better. They're basically like a cat or a dog or what have you, or like a little bird. They just don't know better. They're just too naive and whatnot. Which, yes, sounds incredibly patronizing when you think about it. So having these characters go through a bunch of paperwork and whatnot, and just to make sure everything's done in a diplomacy way, they don't allow it. And to make this even more bizarre, like it wasn't already, they don't even trust the government. They don't trust any government. It doesn't matter if it's a fascist government, a socialist, a capitalist. It doesn't matter. We don't trust any of the governments, really. But to make this even more strange and more bizarre than it should be is that they damn well would use a capitalist country for their benefits, even though they don't trust the government all that much, like the United States, because they don't do in a salute to the flags. They don't want to say, home on the free and all. They know that one song, "This is my land." This is that song. They don't sing any songs like that. Any song remotely to that, like any song that's similar. No song like that. None of the songs are allowed to be sung in the Jehovah's Witness church. And matter of fact, they don't want anyone to take part of the military. They don't want to take part in when it comes to the military services either. Of course, this is all in regards of the government, of course. The Jehovah's Witnesses do not partake in the military in any shape or form whatsoever. And yes, of course, that's the thing, folks. They do not also vote in elections either, which makes them cowards if you ask me, but okay. They don't serve the military in any shape or form. They don't salute to the flag in any shape or form. They believe the fundamental right to this kind of a thing when it comes to the military service and whatnot. But the thing is that there should be like some kind of alternate kind of thing. I mean, of course, they are well known for when it comes to door to door services kind of a thing. Obviously, they want to walk door to door and just talk about, of course. I mean, they have their stands and whatnot, of course. And this just seems like they don't want to do anything involving the government in any shape or form. Which seems kind of weird is that what if there's a threat to a certain society or governments? Like, what do you do then? You can't just pray it away. So when it comes to the involving like the soldiers, like going out to or shoot, like what happened in World War I, World War II, or even what happened in Vietnam and whatnot. Stuff like that. Just any military source in any shape or form, or involving the government in any shape or form. Like it doesn't matter. It's just any kind of way, any shape or form. Either they don't, just flat out refuse. But I just find out again, like I said, that makes them cowards if you ask me. But whatever. Anyway, but they will show love the fact if said capitalist country would provide them a bunch of goods. They'll accept that, all right. Which I don't get. Like all the great things that a capitalist country will provide them, they'll damn well accept it. Like what? You don't want to fight for it, but if someone gives you something, you take it. Like okay. Just confusing. It's so confusing when you think about it. There's a lot more, but still. Oh, and dancing. Dancing is also forbidden. Yeah, you're not allowed to dance at all because satanic, the devil, and all that jazz. Blah 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 blah. Especially if two women want to dance with each other. Even if it's just for fun, if it's just two friends or two sisters or whatever, even if it's just for fun, just for funsies, like people would say, nope, can't do that. That's absolutely no, no. Again, the whole women thing. I'll get back to it in just a sec. But that's one. add a bit more here and there so we can get what I'm trying to get at how this entire thing would be. So yes, I do believe that if they made a Frozen movie, it'd be so weird. Not in a good way, not in an artistic way. Just flat out weird way because this entire thing would just be a flat out propaganda. That's it, really. But anyway, I thank you ahead of time for tuning in, folks. This is gonna be a long video, so as I was saying, here we go. How women are supposed to be submissive and whatnot. They say they're not sexist, but they are. They are sexist and whatnot. But anyway, I'll show you a video from their own site. Of course, I'm not gonna show the entire thing, but yeah, there's someone in there, especially when it comes to the higher ranking individuals. Yes, the ranking in the church when it comes to the elders and whatnot. It's always men. It's always men, and it's always men when it comes to delivering messages. Only men can do that. But anyway, enough of the yappering. Here you go. I'll show you for a brief moment. Anyway, here you go.
This morning in our comments, we're going to talk a bit about the headship arrangement, that aspect of Jehovah making sure things take place decently and by arrangement. For many people in the world, the headship arrangement is a distasteful thing. In fact, our comments even mention that many women today feel oppressed by it. But why do they feel this way? Is it the fault of the arrangement? Well, the answer is no. The headship arrangement is a perfect arrangement, a loving arrangement from Jehovah. More often, the problem lies in how the humans in the arrangement discharge their responsibilities. But for a moment, consider 3 reasons why we can say that the headship arrangement is perfect, it is loving from Jehovah. The first reason is that Jehovah's wisdom is seen in the headship arrangement. I invite you to turn with me to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, and let's read verse 3, where the headship arrangement is laid out, and let's look for that. How is wisdom shown in this arrangement? 1 Corinthians 11:3. It says, "But I want you to know that the head of every man is the Christ. In turn, the head of a woman is the man. In turn, the head of the Christ is God." So how is wisdom seen in this arrangement? Well, the Watchtower said that there are 2 key elements in the headship arrangement. And if you were to try to pick or choose what are those 2 key elements, what would you think? Maybe authority and submission? Well, that might seem logical, but that's not what the Watchtower said. It said the 2 key elements are authority and accountability. The Watchtower went on to say this: Jehovah has given Jesus authority over the congregation, but Jesus is accountable to Jehovah for the way he treats us. Jehovah has also given a husband authority over his wife and children, but a husband is accountable both to Jehovah and Jesus for the way he treats his family. End quote. So the wisdom is that there are checks and balances built into the arrangement itself. For example, the husband's authority over his family is not absolute. He cannot do whatever he wants or treat them however he wants just because he is the head. Rather, he is accountable to Jehovah and Jesus for the way that he treats his family. And for the spiritual man, that makes all the difference in the world, and that helps him to discharge his responsibilities in a proper way. So that's the first point. There is great wisdom in the headship arrangement itself. The second point is that the headship arrangement provides clear, dignified roles for each member of the family. Really, the headship arrangement is an expression of today's text. Let's look at that again, 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things take place decently and by arrangement. This is what the headship arrangement provides for the family. For example, the wife in the family has a clear, dignified role in the family arrangement. She has a place that is hers, and she has full scriptural freedom to operate within that role.
Yes, that's a big part as to why I don't want these people to make a Frozen movie at all because it's extremely sexist. I mean, I could go on and on with this because there's so much of this. I mean, so much. But anyway, there's like there's some other stuff I want to get into as well because it's the portrayal of family, the portrayal of sense of togetherness, the sense of having some kind of a union, so to speak, even if it's among friends and whatnot, even if it's amongst friends, of course, referring to people at the church. Yes, women are viewed as sisters, and the men are viewed as brothers. By the way, brethren, as they would say. Let's give you a bit of context there. So this would translate to, of course, to the Frozen movies, if, assuming they did it that way. You don't necessarily have to be blood related to be called that. By the way, they just view the everybody as one as how do I say this? Well, making it sound cringe. As a body of Jehovah's Witnesses. You are not an individual. You're a unit, so to speak. I guess. Oh yes, if this entire thing just sounds utterly bizarre, it just seems really strange. That's because it is. It's an oddball of a thing, and not in an interesting kind of way, not in an experimental kind of way, but to the Jehovah's Witnesses, it's normal. It's completely normal to them. Oh boy, that's like a straight up communism, if you ask me, because that's what it is. But anyway, here's another clip here. In this other clip here, of course, they're trying to sell like this whole image with the Jehovah's Witnesses are just peaceful people. They're just trying to spread the message of peace, of biblical truth, and whatnot. Oh, you see, we're gonna have a good, wholesome community and whatnot. Which, of course, this entire thing is just a facade. And they're gonna paint the picture that, oh, we just want to help people. That's all we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we just want to help you from uh, to make sure you can have this salvation and help you to escape this devil's grasp. I guess you can say this grip. Of course, that's all. See, and of course, it's just women not doing anything too major, really, obviously. So, of course, the Frozen movies have to reflect this. There's not a whole lot they can do, really, but they can help out into some extent, I guess you can say. It's really the men that's doing a lot of this, of course, the big parts. And if you notice, it's the women who are staying behind. It's the women who are not going, really doing the preaching. It's not the women that's delivering the messages. They have to stay behind and allow the men do all the work because, like I was saying, it's like it's a paradoxical society kind of a thing, and it's the women that has to do what the men has to say, of course. And you see here, they're trying to make it as if it's all happy go lucky. It's the best thing ever. It's everybody else that's wrong. Again, this would be a strong contrast to what the Frozen movies would be really about, actually, when you think about it. Which, yes, means those cringy Jack Frost and Elsa things that people do. Yes, have Elsa get married to him and have a bunch of babies with that character, while Jack Frost preached how it should be done with a family and just togetherness and whatnot. And this is somehow the only path that should be done. Because otherwise, if this doesn't get done the proper way, Elsa over here should be this demonic creature. And yes, they do believe in demons, like I was saying earlier and whatnot. So yeah, this exists to him. It's the man that's really leading all this. It's up to him. He's a hard worker. He's so dedicated. You see, if you notice, he's telling the kids. He's the one that's telling his son. He's the one really gone out his way to study, write reports, just going out, helping the family. He's the leader of the household, so to speak. And again, you see, it's the son, the male member of the family, teaching. You don't see the women doing this. You don't see the woman doing any of this. You see how it's really trying to prepare everything, how he's, I was going to say they, be the son and the father. I'm trying to approach everyone and another guy, of course. See how you notice it's specifically another male they're talking to? Of course. Of course. It's very specific. I guess you can say. It's very, very specific. And yes, this sounds so restricting. You see how happy they are? Yay. Give me a break, will you? And yes, you could have Elsa study the Bible, but under really strict rules, of course. As I said earlier, folks, the characters can still be there. All these characters, well, except for Olaf and the reindeer, and of course the trolls, but the human characters, all the human characters can remain, of course. And I will go back to the whole Elsa not having powers. I'll go back to that in a moment, but initially, all the human characters will remain, pretty much, and severely alter the backstories and the overall plot, just so it can fit their narrative, what they want to go at. Of course, they actually believe that in the United States, the cops and all that, and the lawmakers are going to go after them specifically. Pretty much what happened in Russia. Yeah, their church was actually banned in Russia, and they complain about that. Which yes, they have complained about this kind of thing, and they're going to act as if that they're going into so much turmoil. Oh, don't smoke weed because it's evil. It's not, but okay. No way. The Jehovah's Witnesses haven't exactly been banned, but they've been defunded. You can still be there, but the Jehovah's Witnesses have to pay all their own pockets for certain services. So yes, they took it as if that was, oh no, I'm being discriminated against. Which not. In Switzerland, I believe the same thing there. I believe if I remember correctly. But anyway, if you notice, it's a man that's all proud, of course. It's gonna go into the whole relationship bit I was mentioned earlier. You have to be straight because making the babies, make 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 the babies. So in their version of Frozen, the first one, of course, it would have been more emphasis on be a family, be a family. I mean, that's kind of what they're already aiming for in some ways, to some extent, but whatever. But anyway, it's just a lot of it been altered, is what I'm getting at. Okay, like the whole tattoos thing and whatnot. Let's just say one of the characters want to have a tattoo, but they're gonna put it in a place where you can like wear a skirt anyway. They're gonna wear a pair of pants. But by the way, women are not allowed to wear pants. By the way, but okay, let's just say they just wear skirts. Just have a tattoo on their ass. Just leave it like that. No one's gonna look at it anyway, so just leave it at that then. Nope, you can't have that either. You can't even have that. And even that's a big no-no. Because tattoos are supposed to be evil, apparently. That's so dumb. But anyway, I kind of want to go back to the whole magic thing I was referring to earlier, folks, to give you a bit more detail about this. I'm going back to this. Excuse me if I come out a bit repetitive here, but the whole fact that Elsa has powers, that's like a big thing in this franchise. That's like one of the major components as to what happened in the movie. Because if you're familiar with the beginning part, we all know what happened in the beginning of the film. And that's a major component as to what pushed the plot along. And yes, the Jehovah Witnesses would not want this in the film. Yes, it's a major change, like I was saying way earlier, but they would not want this in the film. Because, yes, you guessed it, they actually made a video about magic. Seriously, because it upset. I'll just show you. Here you go. I'm not going to show the entire thing here, but I'll show at least a brief glimpse at it. So here's what I was referring to. So it is so cringe. Here you go.
Barlock, attack! Oh no, it's Sparlock!
Caleb!
We need someone to save us!
Caleb!
Sparlock can activate your
Caleb!
magic, Sparlock!
Hi. How was school today?
Fine. Look at Sparlock's magic key!
Caleb, what toy is that?
It's Sparlock, the warrior wizard!
Whoa, a warrior wizard.
Yeah, my friend gave it to me. All the kids are going to see the movie. Can I see it too?
Oh, your friend gave this to you. You look pretty excited about this. Why don't you come over here and get your snack, okay? Is this toy magical?
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, who likes magic? Jehovah or Satan?
Satan.
Right. Magic is bad. That's why Jehovah hates it. Do you really want to play with something that Jehovah hates? Do you remember who we learned about at family worship? Who is this?
Adam and Eve.
Right. Did they obey Jehovah?
No, they disobeyed Jehovah. And he got very sad.
So what if you disobey Jehovah and play with toys he doesn't like? Do you think Jehovah will be happy or sad?
Yes, literally just because of the fact, yeah, this whole serpent thing with Adam and Eve. Yes, it's literally because it's a wizard. Yeah, that's it. If you guess, oh, it's because of the toy is a wizard. Yes, that's it. That's literally it. Magic is evil. Jehovah hates magic stuff. See, this is the kind of attitude is what I'm talking about. Even though it's just a toy, they don't want it. That toy will literally do nothing. So, of course, in other words, it's a made-up problem. It's a fictional problem, but they treat it as if it could actually happen. So, what about the factory that made this toy? What's going to happen to the factory? What about the person who designed it? What about the people who made it? What about people who are employed of that factory? And by the way, named that factory. What factory made this? I don't know. What about the other kids who bought the exact same toy? It leaves so many questions. I guess they're going. I guess they're going straight to hell. I guess. I don't know. There's so many questions here. So many unsolved questions. Anyway. So yes, ultimately, they don't want Elsa to have powers because they view this character having abilities, magical abilities, as a rebellion against their Lord and Savior, Jehovah. So yeah, that's going to be a big major change, just like a whole lot of this I've been doing here, folks. So okay, what if Elsa wants to wear different dresses from all over the world, like India or something? Nope, that's not allowed either. You can't wear that kind of outfits, of course, because it does not reflect Jehovah. Anyway, but this is the kind of thing I was what I'm referring to. I don't want any of these individuals to do a Frozen movie at all. I don't want them to do it. I mean, hell, I don't even want them to do a Star Wars movie. But I'm not going to get too much into Star Wars really because I already did plenty of Star Wars related videos already. Even though I'm going to pretty much say the same exact thing more or less in regards with that. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to get here. It has to be in their perspective, of course. It has to be there in their way, obviously, because according to them, this is the way to do it. Because the Watchtower extends this concept to this kind of extremes, of course. And yes, they don't even the language, the specific language, of course. Let's just say they want if someone makes a song called "Guide Your Heart," they would tweak that and say instead, "We guide our hearts." Instead, they're trying to make it as if it's they view the people as a how do I word it again? I'm not trying to make it. I'm trying to make it seem like cringy or anything. As a big group, as one thing. You're not allowed to have an individual personality. You're not allowed to have this individuality whatsoever. You're a unit, and that's what they view us. Again, you don't necessarily have to be blood related because once you join their church, you're all one together. Again, this sounds like communist talk, which I found kind of funny in a depression sort of way. But this show as hell want the money from a capitalist country. That seems kind of odd. But yeah, they want everybody to bow down to them. And judging from the experience that Everest and I had, the Jehovah's Witnesses just come off as some of the most depressed people we have ever met. But of course, we're trying to make it come off like they're they're happy, they'll go lucky and whatnot. It's all propaganda. It's all really propaganda, of course. Because in a lot of ways, they're referring to like, okay, when the sisters was seeing that guy in your heart to the brethren, I guess, they might be offended to be because they're being told what to do by a woman. How dare you? Of course, it just seems really weird if you ask me. Yes, the thing is to go into the whole sexist thing I was referring to. Of course, the sisters, as in togetherness. Again, you don't necessarily have to be blood related. Though this will also apply to people who are biological related, of course. The sisters were forbidden from sitting at the front or the head of the dining table out of respect of the brothers. A purely sexist rule, of course, when you think about it. And yes, of course, the thing is that to make this seem more odd, when there are no brothers, again, like I just said, you don't necessarily have to be blood related. When there are no brothers that are available to handle the teaching segments, leaving no option than other a sister to fill that role. She is required to wear a some head covering thing as a display of a submission to the leadership of the man, of course. Again, it's very controlling. Yes, the woman must wear something for the head part because of that. And that is a thing. And to give you an example, a visual example of what I'm talking about here, this is what I'm talking about here. This. Yeah, even though there's a dude in the background, but you still get the point here. She must wear something like this, and there isn't a male available to do any biblical teaching. So if she's going to go on stage to do any of the scriptures, she must wear something like this. And this is supposed to be like a submission to the head of state, so to speak. And the head of state being, of course, the male. Again, and again. Stuff like, I mean, it's not the only reason, but it's a big part of it as to why I don't want these people to do a Frozen movie at all. I don't want any of these people to do a Frozen film whatsoever, of course, obviously. I don't get it. I mean, yes, it was also stated that occasionally, though circumstances may require a Jehovah's Witness woman to be called to handle duty on to normally be performed and qualified by to baptize a male because such activities really extends of the congregation. She will wear a head covering thing again, referring to the picture, to acknowledge that she is handling the duty normally associated to a male as a sign of submission, of course, and whatnot. And then not only that, a submissive wife is a submission is praised, of course, and it must be done. The Watchtower Society must want this, of course. So if they would, obviously, if they would happen somehow, however unlikely, they would do a Frozen movie. As I said earlier, folks, yes, it'd be probably more emphasis on honor and cross-off relationship because, again, being straight is the absolutely only way, according to them. Which, of course, is homophobic. They take issues with the LGBT plus community, but moreover, I'm trying to get at, they believe that the outsiders, the outside world, the non-believers, the non-Jehovah's Witnesses, the non-Jehovah's Witnesses could be literally anybody, literally everyone else. That's pretty much what that is. Literally everyone else. They believe that crime and everything, all the bad things that's considered bad, like a drug overdose, depression, you name it, is because of the outside world. Okay, like I was saying way earlier, this other kingdom that they be fighting against, the kingdom of atheists, I guess. Even if, let's say, in their version of Frozen, the first one, the evil atheists are not evil, of course, but according to them, they are. But you see, the kingdom of this evil atheist, the other kingdom, Arendelle has been saved at the end of the movie. Just say that for real quick. They believe all is well. Everything is a-okay. Kristoff and Anna had their adventure. They had to go through all of this jazz and just go through the other kingdom and I guess fight for truth and justice for their version of it. You know, it's a Disney movie. You have to have your adventure. You have to go off somewhere and do something, of course. They trying to preach Job and whatnot. But it was a struggle, but they managed to do it. But comes the problem with this, of course. Aside from the fact it's obviously an agenda. Yeah, that's not how real life works, okay? Just because you defeat the enemy, just because you defeat evil, that's not going to be a thing, okay? That's still not going to be fixed. It's not going to be an end all kind of thing here because their mindset is way too simplistic. Is what I'm saying. There's still going to be problems in the world. Unfortunately, there's still going to be problems in the world. That's an actual thing, unfortunately. But of course, we put so much emphasis that they're going to really beat you over the head that they're straight because apparently this is the only way for salvation because an all-powerful God, I mean Jehovah, is pleased with this. But again, this makes no sense. Okay, aside from the homophobia, transphobia, whatever you can say. Okay, that aside from the bigotry, this is not going to be an end-all, fix-all situation. Okay, even if they defeated the evil kingdom in their version, that's still not going to fix everything because people are people. You have to develop the fact that you are individuals. Maybe some people have trust issues. What about the free market, aka capitalism? What if it works better in one place but not so much the other? Which is a thing, by the way. Because in Japan, the capitalism in Japan is actually a lot stronger than over here in America. It's not that it's terrible, but they just in Japan just improved on some stuff and whatnot, and that's fine because capitalism isn't necessarily flawed. You can always improve on it, despite that. But point being, okay, what if there's a situation like that, and what if some people are actually just genuinely depressed because their life didn't turn out the way they should? Because what if somebody wants to be a singer, but they're an aspiring singer that never made it on top? What about that? They just became depressed. Or about the fact that, let's just say they were really attached to a pet. They have like a pet cat, and the cat died, and they were really attached to the cat, and became depressed over that. Look at a number of different things. So again, just being straight and having this long life with a straight couple and defeating this evil kingdom, that's not going to fix everything. There's still going to be a lot of problems in life. Is what I'm saying. Is what I'm trying to point out. There's still going to be a lot of problems in life. As if it wasn't obvious enough, what I'm trying to get at, it's too black and white thinking. That's what I'm trying to say. It's too black and white. There's no merits to anything. And there'll be like zero character development. There'll be zero plot development. It's just that the Jehovah Witnesses are being discriminated against. That's it. That's like the whole thing. That's like the whole thing. I've been discriminated because I'm a Jehovah Witness, which is a lie, but okay. And you have to be straight, really. And there's nothing beyond that, really, with these characters. There won't be nothing beyond that. It's just that, really, just nothing more than that, really. Gotta praise Jehovah. Gotta praise Jehovah, and all the character development would have been removed, of course, because these people believe that just because they believe in Jehovah, that alone is enough. Somehow that alone is enough, which is a lie, but terrible writing. Very, very terrible writing. They just want people to be submissive to, women to be submissive to this, of course, and how they believe that the outside world, it's the outside world that does, of course, that needs to be dealt with. And yes, there's a whole bit when it comes to when it comes to abuse towards women, when it comes to violence towards women within the Jehovah's Witnesses church. I mean, there's a lot of things that go wrong within the church, of course, and which I don't want to get too much into really because this video is very lengthy as it is. But if I want to do another video like this, I do it if I feel like it, I guess, and also if I have the time for this, of course. Making these type of videos take a good chunk of my own time, of course. Which I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody for anything, of course. I don't mind if somebody wants to request these types of videos. I'm fine with doing that. If you want to talk about more in depth with some things, but pretty much they will want the guy to be saving the day. They want the guy to protect the town, the village. I guess Arendelle. They probably will have Kristoff or maybe Hans be the main character and have them save the day. And if there was going to be a bad guy, if it was going to be a villain, it would have been the woman. Because we all know that Queen Elsa was originally supposed to be the villain of the story. So, in that sense, they probably would have gone to the original version, at least to some extent, and have her be the villain of the story. Yes, probably would have her be like this outsider, whether it can be an atheist or maybe a Catholic, because they cannot stand Catholic people. They despise Catholic people, which I find kind of odd because the Jehovah's Witnesses have complained about how their religious freedom has been taken away by other countries, which I find kind of ironic in some ways because they'll take away religious rights from everybody else, especially the Catholics. I find that really hilarious in some ironic kind of way. But anyway, that's all I can really say. If they were to make a Frozen movie, it would be very much like how North Korea. Like I already said that already. But yes, I'm gonna give another example real quick before I just kind of end this. Even though I kind of feel like I'm already beating over the head already by this point. So I have one more video to show you folks from their own site. So here we go, folks. More propaganda for you. Okay, in this clip, you get to see that they're just trying to, when I say they, I mean the supposed good women of Jehovah, just trying to spread the word of Jehovah in their, let's say, some high school or something. They're just trying to do the right thing. And you can't be out friends with outsiders, by the way. So this is the only way you can live your life. See how this individual's doing that, trying to spread the word, of course, and she's all happy and go lucky, which is odd because the thing is that, okay, let's say Elsa wants to let's say, write. She wants to write her own stories. She wants to write her own stuff and just be a free thinker. You can't do that. You can't be a free thinker. You can't just think outside the box. They want you when I say the Jehovah's Witnesses, they just want you to conform into what they believe. You can't be yourself as an individual, which means Elsa can't be herself as an individual. Yes. Like I said, very much like North Korea. Oh boy, very much so. And yes, of course, again with the whole clothing thing, nope, can't be too sexy. This is way too sexy. This is somehow too distracting for Bible studying. Oh, happy go lucky. I'm just trying to help you. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm trying to explain how Jehovah is. Through Jehovah is the only way. See, this is, and how the woman earlier, she's on in distraught and whatnot. This is what you call emotional manipulation. And yes, by the way, women aren't allowed to get a higher education, of course. Women are not allowed to get in like this, of course, and whatnot. Of course, this doesn't make any sense. They're trying to act as if that if you get the proper education, you will go away from what Jehovah really wants. And they're trying to show this sense of struggle, apparently, that's going on here, but okay, sure. Oh, and also, no Halloween. You can't celebrate Halloween because it's too pagan. And of course, no Thanksgiving. No Thanksgiving because, again, too pagan. Also, Christmas, too pagan as well. You can't celebrate Christmas. Also, yes, you can't celebrate your own birthday either because that's evil apparently. But okay, that's a thing. Obviously, yes, even Easter would be out of the question, of course, because apparently for a woman to live a more proper life is like this. Yes, she might be struggling to be converted. Yes, she might be struggling and stressing out, but she's just not seeing the truth yet. She just needs to see the absolute truth of Jehovah. She just needs to be accepted. And when she accepts to be a part of the church, therefore it's going to actually be a part of the way. And of course, this is the only way to live a proper life because the outside world is way too corrupted. The outside world have some bad influences, and you need to stay focused on the truth. Well, their version of the truth, and of course they would want the Frozen movies to reflect this, of course. And yeah, here's the thing, folks. Of course, to be a bit more clear, in case you're confused, I won't blame you if you were, is that women, yes, the women of the Jehovah's Witnesses, they can talk about the Bible. It's not that they can't. Of course, they absolutely can. It's just that they're heavily restricted on how to do it, of course. Of course, the men are going to have the more power, the more influence, of course. But bottom line here is that see how these women are? They're so happy. They're so they're so filled up with joy and grace. But the only way they can achieve such position in life is through Jehovah. I'm just trying to help you out. Don't you see? Look how great their lives are. We're just trying to spread the truth, and that's it. And how dare you discriminate against me? How dare you criticize me? And yes, if you criticize them, they'll act as if that they're being discriminated against, which of course is a lie. That's not what's going on, really. But anyway, point being is that they're saying that this is the proper life. This is the proper way. Is the great way of doing it, of course. Which obviously is a complete lie. And apparently, just having this community here, this fantastic community, is the proper way. See, she's not crying no more. See, she's not stressing out anymore. Now that she's a part, now she's not stressing out anymore. She's not suffering anymore in any shape or form. And once she became a Jehovah's Witness, this is some kind of music video, by the way, just so you know. And now that she achieved this greatness, see how fantastic life is now? It's so much better. Which of course is just very manipulated. It's emotionally manipulated everything about. If you're trying to make a point, you don't have to be manipulative, you know. And if you want to talk about this scene in the film, if you've seen the movie, you already know what happened here. I don't have to explain too much. You know what happened if you've seen the movie. And if they want to include this scene in a way to make sense out of it, it's gonna be horrified, of course. It's her that's corrupting Hans, and maybe he turns evil because of her. It's her fault because of the whole Adam and Eve thing. Yet the whole Adam and Eve thing is still going to apply to Jehovah's Witnesses. It's always the woman's fault. It's always the woman's fault doing anything wrong. So if you still want this scene to play out, again, if you know the movie, you know what happened here. You still have it played out, but it's gonna be her fault because she's the one that corrupted him because of the atheists or the pagans or whatever. Because for the entire movie, in their version, all he's trying to do is trying to fight the other kingdom. The other kingdom in them are either could be the pagans or the atheists, I guess. Because the atheists or the pagans are just trying to ruin Aaron there because there's so much they're filled with hate, and Aaron there, the Jehovah's Witnesses, are filled with love. You're trying to one just trying to destroy the way of life. How dare you? And he's trying to be a warrior of peace and whatnot, but then honor corrupted him again or something, some nonsensical stuff like that. I highly doubt that they will allow Queen Elsa to have the throne because yes, it's the whole thing with women being on top is a big no-no. If anything, they probably would allow Prince Hans to be on the top. They probably have to write the story in some kind of way so that the men can be on top. I guess they're supposed to be the head honcho of all this because Jehovah is male, therefore it's right to discriminate against women just for being women. Because it's just the way that they believe in this kind of a thing. It just seems as though they just don't want to accept the actual truth. Yes, they will believe the most outrageous lies about people you can't imagine immediately. No questions asked, and for no reason with zero evidence, of course. A normal person could be just shunned because reasons. So yes, stupidity is really very potent weapon against everyone else. So of course they would want these movies to be a reflection on what they believe because they believe this is the absolutely positively greatest way to live when in reality it really isn't when you think about it. So yes, a lot of people will assume that the Jehovah's Witnesses are like the nicest, most kindest people in the world, but apparently no one else in the world is nicer than them. That's not the actual truth, of course. I don't keep bringing the shunning thing. They have a really shunning awful thing. The shunning thing policy is really bad among them. The shunning thing is not really a good thing, of course. And yes, they will allow a loved one to die in the hospital because they're against the blood transfusion. What if they need a blood transfusion immediately just so they can, let's say, because of some infection or whatever, but they need to transfuse blood transfusion immediately pronto. They will fight against it because of that. So again, this will have to be reflected in the movie because apparently this is the proper way. I don't know why or how this makes any sense, but again, like it doesn't make any sense to begin with. Yet here we are, I reckon. But anyway, folks, yeah, it's almost done here. Almost done. This went a lot longer than it should have in a lot of ways, but there's still a lot of ground I need to cover in a lot of ways. But going back to what I just said a moment ago, yes, Queen Elsa will not be allowed to be the queen because women are not allowed to have too much power in anything. See, now that she has a much better life, she's all happy and joyful just because she joined the Jehovah's Witness cult, I mean religion. So yeah, oopsie, I guess. But yeah, this is just straight up propaganda, of course. I mean, there's lots of other similar videos, but that'll be it for now, I guess. Even the relationship between the two sisters would be really restrictive, of course. I mean, yes, the way you interact with family members would be watched over like a hawk. So they will implement their belief system into the movies rather than just having the characters have their own individual personalities, which will be allowed to only to like a very, very, very limited extent. Of course, even down to the way they will dress. No black clothing. You can't have no goth style clothing. Even goth adjacent. It could be just goth adjacent or cyber goth or some variation of goth culture because there's many different versions of it. It can't even be remotely in the ballpark because trying to tie it to pagans or somehow pagans or Wicca, you even call them that, is somehow evil, which is a lie, but whatever. So they'll make the character seem too rebellious. It has to be plain colors. It can't even be any of the fancy white colors either, or fancy baby blue. You can't have that either. Anything fancy light colors. You can't have that, okay? So none of this. No, you can't have that. No, none of this. If it's all white or light blue or whatever, nothing too fancy. The colors can't be too fancy. So don't be thinking if you're gonna have any light colors or somewhat darker colors like this you see right here. Nope, you can't have that either. Because you have to be very plain, very, very, very plain. Now you can't even have Elsa with the horse because she can't be a warrior. Oh, I'll just end it here. So I can't even have not Elsa, even her sister Anna be somewhat revealing because that's too rebellious. Ugh. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.